Okay, so about my app. It basically mirrors the search function on fanfiction.net, but it helps solve a little problem that fanfiction.net has, that is the absence of personalized search and the absence of an ability to exclude more stuff from searches. For example, if you want to only look for lengthy fanfiction, you can do that, but you can only have just a little exclusions. For example, if you want to exclude a genre, you can only exclude one genre, for example, drama. But you cannot at the same time exclude tragedy, angst, and so on. And the other problem that I wanted to address is the fact that once you've read something, for example, if I've already read Relics of the Past, I want it gone from my search list, so that it doesn't clutter when I want to find something else to read. That is basically why I've written this application. It almost mirrors fanfiction.net, like I said. It has the same sections as it has anime, manga, books, and so on. It has normals and crossovers fictions. Those are separate categories, and searches are done separately. If you have selected normal, it will search inside normal categories, and crossovers will select inside the crossovers categories. This combo box here shows you which fandom you want to look in. For example, if you want to find something in Naruto, you start typing and it autocompletes to Naruto. You press the button search, it thinks for a while, and then displays you all the fiction that Naruto has, if that is preloaded into the application. Currently it lists them by update date, but you can totally do something different. For example, you can list it by word count. Like you see, this is humongous, that's 1,800,000. And the worst thing that I have already read it. I don't know what to say about it. I have no life. You can list stuff by favorite, which means the fresh stuff that has been started in the last year and is rapidly getting popular. It lists stuff by the ratio of favorites to the time that it's running. Or you can list it by just by favorites. That is the stuff that has a lot of favorites. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best stuff, as I have found. So, once you've read something, you normally want it to be gone from your search list. That's where tags come from. If you press that green plus button that every fic has on the right, it displays you the amount of tags that you can assign to your fanfictions that you have read, or you don't want to read, or you don't even like to see. For example, you see that it's slash, you don't want it to see it at all. You say that it's disgusting, for example, and once you refilter, like you said, like you see, Team 8 is gone. You'll never see it again in your default search list. It's gone to your tags. If you select, for example, disgusting, then here it is, Team 8. You can always unassign the tag and it will appear in your search list like you have never assigned the disgusting tag. Or you can assign something else, for example, limbo, because it's been abandoned and isn't updated anymore since 2015. Fanfiction tab has... wait a second. Alright, I need to deselect stuff. Fanfiction tab has some indicators that you can use for your advantage. For example, the letter to the left is the rating. For example, I am as mature, T is teen, and so on. The gray sheet means that the fic hasn't been updated in a year. The yellow sheet means that the fic hasn't been updated in 6 months. Or rather, that it has been updated in the last 6 months. And I wonder if we have it here. Let's see. Let's do it some other way for update date. The green sheet means that the fic has been updated in the last month. The tick mark, if it's gray, that means that the fanfiction isn't complete. If it's green, it means that fanfiction has been completed, and basically that it's safe to read it. If you want to only search incomplete fanfiction, you can always tick this mark and refilter, and it will only list stuff that is completed. But you will lose quite a lot of interesting stuff that way. If you want to only look inside the active fiction, that's something that has been updated in the last 6 months, then you can tick active. Or is it a year? I don't really remember. It's either 6 months or a year, but anyway, it's been updated recently. So, which options do I have? You can select fanfiction. For example, Harry Potter. If you select books and start typing, then you will have Harry Potter. Here it is, the most humongous section on the whole website. It has like 400,000 fics in it. You can totally search the whole category. It will display everything. It will just be quite slow when you try to navigate. But you can always limit your search by saying that, for example, I want to only read fics that have 300,000 words in them. Totally possible. That's one more thing that FanfictionNet doesn't have. You only can see fics that have more than 100,000 words in them, which is quite limiting because usually you want to start to read big stuff first. If you want to read everything that has more than 60,000 words, yes, you can. Harry Potter has been mostly preloaded. It's a lot of stuff, but you can totally read it. And it will be slow. It will be really slow if you want to navigate it like this. It's better to just scroll with the wheel. While you are searching, it keeps a list of the fanfics that you have been searching. That's for easier navigation and so that you don't have to type next time. Like you see, if you click on stuff, it appears in this box and you can research it easily again. And it will pop the stuff that you have searched through on the top of this list. The empty record means that it's a search through the whole database. Persona, Harry Potter, Naruto, Sailor Moon, whatever. It will display everything, given the sorting criterion that you have given it. If you want to do some random navigation with this app, it's totally possible. You can say randomize and please show me 10 random fics that have 50 favorites at least. Totally possible. It's when you're feeling adventurous. It's not exactly a very useful filter, but it works sometimes, at least for me. You can exclude stuff in a much more flexible way than with FanfictionNet. For example, drama, angst, tragedy, and I also like to exclude romance, because in my experience fics that list romance are not always, or rather are often not as good as everything else. And you don't want slash. Voila, it also makes sure that fics that say not slash are not excluded. It's a corner case that I have added specifically. White space basically means that those are and. So you can see there is only good stuff here. Adventure, suspense, humor, etc. There are no drama, no angst. I just hate those things. Okay. Once you've selected some fandom that you like, for example Harry Potter, you can say the application that you want to track it. You tick this tick mark. For example, you tick this tick mark, tick this tick mark, it's already ticked. And the next time you press load all tracked fandoms, it will query FanfictionNet for these fandoms and will load the new fiction that has been added to the category. I'm sorry, my brand power is stupid. Let's just wait for it to vanish. Yeah, here it is. Now it should hopefully load stuff. If it hasn't timed out already, I'm sorry if it is. Yeah, that might have been timed out. Yeah. So it went to load the stuff that has been added. Once it finishes its work, it will display a pop-up. Let's just wait for it for a little. I do hope that I haven't ticked something that hasn't been loaded yet, because otherwise we're going to wait for quite some time. Okay, so it's not as critical as I thought. It just loaded some fandom that I haven't preloaded yet. Warhammer, Star Wars, not comic Star Wars, that's why it doesn't have anything. Fate Stay Night crossovers. Please note that tracking is separate for crossovers and normal fix. So you will have to select a crossover category and tick everything back if you want to track those two. There is a lot of stuff that I have already marked as tracked and it's been downloaded now. Yeah, it finished processing and it's downloaded 521 fix that hasn't been in the database previously. It basically lets you update the application with the new stuff. So, if you want to wipe the fandom, for example, wipe, what can we say, Sekirai, you can always do that with this button, but I'd not advise it. It's only if you fucked up in a major way. It's really not a button that you want to press. What else? These custom filters are some fun filters that can't really be set with the stuff above. Longest running is stuff that has been running for ages, for example 10 years and more. Behemoth chapters will show stuff that has chapters of hundreds of thousands of words in it. Splint will show chapters that are really short. I mean, if the fic has overall chapters that are really short. Catch 'em all. Well, some authors really like to list every character in the description of the fanfiction. It's just a fun filter for that. One-liners will show stuff that hasn't really been tagged well. It's just that, one-liners. If the description contains one line or not much more. Dumped is the stuff that has been dumped as is. Usually it's has been dumped in one piece or in some very short pieces. And new from popular is actually a useful filter. It will list stuff that has been added from authors that already have a lot of favorites, but itself doesn't have a lot of favorites. If you want to read stuff, you just click on its name and it will open in your default browser. Oh, just great. So this stuff has been deleted from the website. That happens. Yeah, this hasn't been. If you want to set the chapter at which you stopped, you can totally do that, but I don't find it all that useful because FanfictionNet has notifications, so it's not really that necessary. You can just subscribe to the FanfictionNet and it will show you when it's updated. The stuff that's been published, it says here, it's been published in 2015 and it has been updated on 20th of April. If you have some tag that you want added here that isn't there by default, for example stuff that has been abandoned and you don't want to see it, you just add this tag. I already had it. I already have it. So what exactly can I add? Whatever tag. Whatever. It's been added. And now you can assign it here. Whatever. Note that everything that has been tagged will not show in the default search results. To watch the stuff that you have tagged, you'll have to navigate to tags and press the exact tag that you want to navigate, or tags. You can have multiple selected. So I think that's it. That's mostly the functionality of this program. I think that you have seen it all. I encourage you to add some fandoms that I haven't added here if you want. For example, if you're a fan of Card Captor Sakura, you can totally do that. Just select anime and you're free to go. But overall, I think that's all that's relevant for this app. If I add something, I will likely add it as a text description. And with this, I'm out.